Hey everybody, happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you are having a great day. It's Saturday evening when we're recording this and I'm just putting the chickens to bed. I was getting ever so excited earlier today because we thought Marie was getting broody. She had sat on a clutch of eggs all day, literally all day. And then about 45 minutes ago, I saw her at the back door and she looked at me as if to say, yeah, that was a bit harder than I thought. I gave up. So no chicks yet, but hopefully we will soon. And when we do, we will of course share. That's not what I want to talk to you about today. Obviously, as you know, Sunday musings tend to be a little bit more informal in the way that they're recorded. And that's because it's the weekend and I'm doing this kind of as an extra video to go on take 2. But today it's a topic that has been in my mind for a while. As you know, we've had some press cars on loan for the last couple of weeks. I have had the Ford Mustang Mach-E for a week. The review for that hopefully will be coming out this coming week. And then last week we had the Volkswagen ID.4. And right now we have this, the Volvo XC90 T8, which of course is a plug-in hybrid. And I know that's going to upset some people, but plug-in hybrids, while they're not great for a lot of people, are a vehicle that I would rather people drive than not an EV. And so I always feel that we have to at least review plug-in hybrids, even if our reviews aren't always going to be positive because of limited range. And honestly, I think that's the challenge here with the Volvo XC90 T8. My local farm store that we shop at is about a 20-mile round trip from the house, and we can just about get there on electric and back here, which feels like it's very limited in real world application. Granted, this is a 7-seat SUV, full-size SUV, and I don't want to preempt our review, so I'm going to stop there. But I do want to talk to you today about charging and what your opinions are on charging and whether charging confuses you, specifically plug-in charging. So for example, this thing here, obviously most of you will recognize this if you own an electric car or you've seen an electric car. You'll go, okay, this is a connector, I plug it in and my car charges. But do you know, just by looking at this plug, how quickly your car will charge? Is it something that you understand? Is it something that you find confusing? And when you're in a public charging location, do you know which charging station you need to pull up alongside and how to plug in and how to use the app and how to initiate charging and how to deal with a problem? I'm asking because in the last couple of weeks, while we've had the Mustang Mach-E and then the Volkswagen ID.4, one of the things that we've done, obviously, is to check the charging of those vehicles, the rapid charging of those vehicles at a DC quick charging station. And in the case of both cars, we've been at a station filming when someone has pulled up and they've not understood how to activate the charger, what charging plug they may or may not need, and how to deal with any issues that might be happening with the charging station or their car not communicating. Obviously, if you are an established EV driver, I've been driving EVs since 2006. Most of my team now drive plug-in vehicles here at Transport Evolved. We're all old hats by now. We understand how the charging stations work. We understand how the networks work. And for the most part, if you show us a connector, we've got a good idea as to whether it's going to be a fast or a slow charging experience. But I'm curious about you. Maybe you've just got into electric vehicles for the first time. Maybe you have a cursory kind of knowledge about how it works, but you're not sure. Or maybe you consider yourself a pro. And I'm curious as to how you navigate new charging stations made by companies that you haven't encountered before. A great example was when we went to Texas last year for Fully Charged Live. We pulled up at a rapid charging station that was part of a network that I had never encountered, that Kate Walton Elliott had never encountered. And so figuring out, what app we needed, how to download that, how we paid for it, it all felt really confusing and frustrating. And we've been driving electric vehicles for years as a team. So I want to know, really honestly, hand on heart, how comfortable you are with public EV charging, how comfortable you are with charger speeds. How do you differentiate between a rapid charging station that is moderately quick versus one that is super quick? How do you explain that to people who haven't encountered that before? And of course, there is a bit of an ulterior motive here, because a friend of mine runs Chargeway, Matt Teskey. He runs Chargeway, and the idea behind Chargeway is to have a real grown-up conversation about the differences between the various types of electric car charging, and to try and simplify it with a series of colours and numbers. So your car has a particular connector, and the Chargeway system has different colours for different charging standards. So you don't have to remember the technical names. And then it has a number. So the higher the number, the bigger the number, the more quickly your car will charge. I've spoken to people who don't use electric cars about that system, and they've got very excited about it, and they've said that makes total sense to me. I speak to electric vehicle drivers, and I know Matt does sometimes, and people say, oh, that's silly, that's complicated. Why don't people just learn CHAdeMO and CCS and 50 kilowatts and 350 kilowatts and 3.5 kilowatts and 12 kilowatts? And I think the problem with kind of the technical side of things is that it can be exclusionary if you are not a technically minded person. A lot of people don't understand what a kilowatt is. They don't understand what a kilowatt hour is. And while somebody watching who is technically minded might go, oh yes, well, I understand exactly what a kilowatt hour is. A lot of people don't, and they don't care, because that doesn't relate to anything. There's nothing tangible about a kilowatt hour that tells you how far a car can travel. There's nothing tangible about a kilowatt to tell you how quickly your car can charge if you don't know what a kilowatt is. So you're starting with an assumption when you start talking about kilowatts and different standards of charging that a lot of people just don't understand and find very confusing. Whereas everybody generally understands what a colour is, even if someone is colour blind, they are still able to differentiate certain colours from others, and that's where the Chargeway system comes in. And the numbers, obviously, if the number is bigger, it's going to charge your car more quickly. And at the end of the day, people understand the numbers on gas pumps. The higher the number on your gas pump generally means the more expensive the fuel is going to be. Now, I know there's a different technical explanation that is to do with the chemical composition of the petrol, but most people look at the number and go, okay, regular or premium or super fancy all singing or dancing petrol. And we're not there yet with electric cars. Tesla is, because it's got the Supercharger network, and the way it works is literally you turn up, you plug in and you charge, and the car does everything else. And the connector for the home charging and the supercharging are the same in the United States. And in Europe, it's slightly more confusing because the connector is a modified version of a European connector, and it's slightly different there. But for the most part, unless they're the new Model 3s with CCS, and then and already I'm confusing myself talking about this. So I know that there must be people who are getting confused. So tell me, honestly, do you understand public rapid charging? Do you understand public slow charging? How do you differentiate between the two when you're out and about? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Also tell me if you watched Saturday Night Live. I am going to, for the sake of reporting, It's not something that I generally watch. For those who don't know, Elon Musk is hosting Saturday Night Live on Saturday evening. So that was yesterday night. It's very controversial because a lot of people don't want him to do it. He's not a comedian. He's not really great on camera a lot of the time when he's out of his comfort zone. And his comfort zone is SpaceX, Tesla, Neuralink. When he's talking about those things, he's doing great. When he's out of those comfort zones, it's less fun for him. And so there are lots of people asking why he was invited and lots of people wondering what it's going to be like. So I will be watching it tonight. Obviously, by the time this goes out tomorrow, I will have had an opinion formed in my mind. So I'd be interested to hear yours. That's it for today. Thanks to the wonderful people who are scrolling by. They make this show happen. We've honestly been working so hard on this channel of late, and being able to pay the camera person who's helping us film all of these car reviews at the moment is super awesome. They recently had a bit of a bad luck in the employment related to COVID, and because we are able to help them, I feel that it's wonderful that you guys are able to help us so we can help give people employment and help them out. And I think that's phenomenal. And I haven't phrased that very well, but thank you. I would love to hire that person full time, but we don't make enough money as a company yet to make that possible. Hopefully we will very soon. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Look after yourself and the ones you love. If you are celebrating Mother's Day, happy Mother's Day. If you have a mother, ring them up and say Happy Mother's Day and tell them that you appreciate them. I think it's really important. I know that my mum played a really big part in my life and made me the person I am today. And I'm very grateful for what she and Dad did. Thanks for watching. Keep evolving.